I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's celebrate.
Y'all did it.
Loving each other, needing each other.
Hey, Los Angeles. KBLA Talk 1580 is turning 5, and we're celebrating in a big way.
Oh my God.
Join us Friday, June 19th, Juneteenth, 4 to 7 p.m. at the Beehive for our 5th anniversary bash and Juneteenth celebration. We're talking surprise celebrity guests, a special presentation, and a major announcement you will not want to miss.
I can't wait to hear it.
Plus, live music, dancing, games, and enough food and drink to keep the party going.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Of course, you're welcome to bring your own picnic basket, blanket, and lawn chair. And the best part, it's completely free. But here's the thing. You've got to sign up in advance. Space is limited, so don't wait. Head to KBLA1580.com right now and lock in your spot. Friday, June 19th, The Beehive, KBLA Talk 1580. 5 years strong, and we're just getting started.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Yeah, man.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's Thought-Provoking Thursdays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. And in this moment, I have a thought from Dave Zirin, who posts on his Facebook page the following message. When the NAACP made its controversial call for Black high school athletes to boycott colleges and states where they are redrawing political maps in order to revive Jim Crow, there was some opinion, and one opinion that we should want to hear above all others, and that of Dr. Harry Edwards. I contacted the legendary 83-year-old sports sociologist, organizer, and author, and he went off with a deep political depth and passion that has been his hallmark for more than 60 years. He brings the lessons of history and discusses the art of strategic organizing, centering on women athletes and the importance of broader societal struggles beyond the athletic field. Please read his words and take his insights. Here is the entire article. He says, when I reached out to Dr. Edwards about the NAACP decision, he replied with a long and thoughtful answer. Here's what he said. The NAACP needs some historical insight regarding their proposed Black athletic boycott and to consider their own potential contradictions as well as the counterproductive outcomes. I want to make it clear from the outset that I'm not averse to their proposal. I'm just pulling their coattails on the complexities of their proposed effort, not to speak of the fact that the athletes haven't heard from yet, that we've not heard from them yet. There is better than just a possible chance that as things stand now, many Black athletes will ignore or be outright opposed to the NAACP regarding a Black athletic boycott strategy because under circumstances of being no, quote, Black movement, quote, in the broader society sufficiently influential and compelling enough to travel over stadium walls and through the pavilion turnstiles to provide athletes with an ideological and definitional strategy with political identity and ideological affiliation within a broader societal movement, one that informs, frames, and fuels their involvement and generates the popular political connection and support they need and deserve as they put everything on the line, their present as well as their future. Dr. Harry Edwards, an interview with Dave Zarin titled Dr. Harry Edwards on the NAACP's call to boycott gerrymandering states by Dave Zarin. You ought to get that. It's available online. It's available on Facebook. An amazing article. And of course, it's great to hear from the legendary Olympic athlete, Dr. Harry Edwards, who many of you may recall stood on the podium at the Olympics with a black glove and a fist raised in the air, protesting the treatment of our people in the United States, while also having succeeded significantly in his own athletic prowess in the Olympics, blending a unique patriotism and a profound concern for Black Americans. In this hour, this is our conversation with Atiba. Atiba is former Deputy Executive Director for the National Black Caucus of State Legislators. He's a strategic alliance consultant and president of Party Politics US. Atiba, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Jesse, it's always great being here with you.
Brother, I know you have some insights on this, and I know that we have a very special guest that will be coming forward in just a couple of minutes. Your initial thoughts on Dr. Edwards and his thoughts.
First off, thank you for posting it. And I enjoyed reading it. I know last week we talked a bit about it, and I shared that I was opposed to what the NAACP was asking. And I felt like Dr. Edwards, eloquently as he always does, put it clearly in terms of, a position. But I also thought that he also spoke to, and this is probably where also my heart was about this last week, is that the strategy in terms of where the NAACP came about this, it felt, I don't want to say misguided. It just felt like, hey, we want to attach ourselves to this energy right now, as opposed to really thinking it through in terms of what this looks like and what it would look like going forward.
I share that concern. In fact, I've heard so many different varying opinions on the boycott, including some thoughtful people on our own show. And it's almost as if everyone is backing into a strategy. They're backing into the logic. And everyone has a different opinion, a thought, some of which are supportive, some of which are challenging. But it seems to me that the proper planning and strategy that Dr. Edwards is advancing is something that was not given consideration to on the front side. I'm pulling for it. I hope it changes redistricting lines and increases African-American representation in the South. The ultimate strategy of the NAACP. But to your point, there seems to be this desire to do something, which I cannot fault. In this environment, we all want to do something. But whether or not we are going to be in a productive discussion and action plan for addressing the forces of MAGA from Virginia around to Texas that are seeking to undermine our representation, both at the congressional, state legislative, all the way down to school boards and dog catcher, whether or not asking young African-American 16 and 17-year-old athletes to carry the burden of that, I think is deeply troubling. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. When we come forward, we're going to lighten it up and have a conversation about the Urban Film Festival, 3-day event in Miami, Florida, with the founding executive director, Marco Molinet, in just a few moments. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Dell PCs with Intel inside are built for the moments you plan and the ones you don't. For the time you forgot your charger at the gate.
Passengers, we are now on our initial ascent.
Or when you're bouncing between projects like a ping pong ball. We build PCs with long-lasting battery life, so you're not scrambling for an outlet. And built-in intelligence, so you can stay focused on whatever you're doing. Dell Technologies, built for you. Dell.com/Dell PCs.
You have something to say, and we want to hear it. KBLA Talk 1580 is engagement radio, not outrage radio. A place where your hopes, your frustrations, and your ideas are welcome 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Real talk, real people, real Los Angeles. KBLA Talk 1580, the station that sounds like the city looks. Tune in on your AM radio dial at 1580. Download our free KBLA 1580 app or listen live on our website at KBLA1580.com.
Unapologetically progressive.
What if your rooftop could earn you money every year? With LADWP's Solar Rooftops program, you can get solar panels installed and maintained on your home at no cost and earn up to $900 a year. That's up to $18,000 over 20 years. There are no upfront costs, no credit checks, and no annual fees. Plus, you'll help power Los Angeles with clean local solar energy and reduce reliance on fossil fuels. Make your rooftop work for you. Apply today at ladwp.com/solar rooftops.
From the people who brought you It's the Dog Park comes.
It's a hot spot on your dog's leg that the internet says you can treat it at home. You're not sure though, because now it's oozing.
Protect your dog from injury and illness with Progressive Pet Insurance.
Ooh, he's licking it. Super gross, dude.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Coverage subject to policy terms.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
The joint will be jumping. Ebony Repertory Theater, in association with Fig Street Films, brings you one of the most beloved musicals of all time. Tony Award winner, Ain't Misbehavin'. The soulful, swinging celebration of the music of Fats Waller. From the rollicking to the romantic, this show is pure magic, full of the songs that defined an era and the voices that'll make you forget everything else for a night. Foot-stomping, heart-stirring, unforgettable. Don't miss Ain't Misbehavin' at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center, starring Lettucey, directed by Ren T. Brown. This is the night out you've been waiting for. Tickets are going fast, so don't wait. Grab yours now at ebonyrep.org or call the box office today at 323-964-9766. Ebony Repertory Theater, bringing the culture, keeping the legacy alive.
Ain't Misbehavin' runs May 21st through June 8th at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. Get your tickets now.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. This is our conversation with Atiba, former Deputy Executive Director for the National Black Caucus of State Legislators and Strategic Alliance Consultant and President of Party Politics. Right now, he has turned his undivided attention to the midterms, including, but not limited to, having a wonderful marketing campaign called Midterms Effing Matter, and we will get to that a little bit later. But right now, our very special guest, Marco Molinet, the CEO of Florida Film House, has his Urban Film Festival, a major 3-day event taking place in Miami, Florida, in the not too distant future on Labor Day weekend. It is dedicated to educating, exposing, and providing distribution opportunities for underrepresented Black and minority filmmakers telling raw, independent urban stories. Highlights of the film festival include complete free access, professional development, and youth initiatives. Atiba, please bring properly forward our very special guest, Marco Mall.
Well, Jesse, thank you for that. And Marco, thank you for joining us today. Last week, let me just take a back step. When I moved to Miami, my big thing was anonymity. Jesse, you know what that's like being in Washington, D.C. I know there were probably very few places, if any, that you could ever go that you didn't know someone.
Yeah, I was a TMZ regular. I hated it.
And when I moved to Miami, I enjoyed like anonymity. But after being here for 5 years, I've started going to these meetings. And last week I went to the Downtown District Authority meeting for their Creative Arts Committee. And there was someone in the room. Normally I'm in a room, and I was like, there's someone in the room that I know that I want to meet. And the person that I ended up meeting was Marco. And he was the last week. I had picked him out because he stood up and he spoke about the Urban Film Festival. He talked about the work that they're doing. He talked about just a number of things that I'll let him share. But what got me was that there were all these people in the room, and I got a chance to meet quite a few amazing people. And the last person that I talked to was Marco, and we were the last two people there. So I say that.
Welcome forward to our show, Marco.
And so I mentioned that because I want Marco to talk about the Urban Film Festival, what they're doing, why it's one of the largest ones in the country, and how they're working with not just film, but the next generation also of film creators. So with that, Marco, sorry for the long introduction, but thank you so much for making time today to join us today on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you, Atiba. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be, speaking with the Honorable State Rep Jesse Jackson Jr. Legend, and Atiba. I appreciate the fine words. At the end of the day, I'm just doing my part, like we all do. We all, we've been blessed, so we have to bless. And the Urban Film Festival is a foster of giving our voices an opportunity to be heard and our stories to be told, so that hopefully we can help build and learn about each other culturally. I'm a filmmaker, right? I'm a film producer. I had quite a bit of films. I tried to put my films in other film festivals, and surprisingly, we didn't get into the film festivals, right? Some of the more prominent film festivals and some of our film festivals that I kind of knew for sure I should get in, because I felt like those festivals were for me. When I didn't get my films that were well done, well produced, put a lot of resources behind them, and they didn't get into a lot of the film festivals I thought they would get into, that's when I knew there was a need to do an urban film festival that serviced the urban films, the inner city films. First year was a huge success coming out the gate. We're in our 11th year now. I've had the opportunity of seeing a lot of these filmmakers grow from short films into features, and I've been also able to help some of them get distribution deals and monetize and help them stay in the profession. That's really was the goal. Like a lot of young people, they say, you tell your parents, I want to be a filmmaker. They're like, no, you're going to college to be a doctor or a lawyer, engineer, something that's going to guarantee revenue, right? Well, if you make a film and you put the film out, it doesn't make any money, doesn't make any noise, doesn't get any film festivals, that can crush your dreams. Well, at Urban Film Festival, we try to let these films in, celebrate them, have your family come out, watch your film, and then they get behind you, and it kind of helps keep you going in the game, and, we screen over 150 films a year. Like I said, I've helped a lot of filmmakers grow, and now they've become substantial filmmakers. We always bring in the best of the best when it comes to speakers. And even the speakers that do come in, they come in with passion. They don't come in, worrying about getting paid. They don't come in worrying about security. They come in and they actually hang out with the filmmakers. They're there all weekend. They're exchanging information. They're mentoring the filmmakers as I do. So, it's really like a community effort of people that have been successful in the film space coming back and helping the next generation stay in the game and uplift them. And I think we've just done an amazing job of truly embracing that. And I love the fact that it's free, because I think it should be free. Each one teach one, and it's like, it's beautiful that I'm able to do it back in, the city. I'm from Miami. Overtown is, dear to my heart. My dad lived in Overtown, and I spent a lot of time in Overtown growing up. And, I'm from Miami, and it's just, Overtown is like the Black Harlem of the South. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very historical. So for us to bring this type of culture and uplift this type of culture from our community.
I have a question for Marco. Marco, 11 years ago when you started, the Obama administration was coming to an end. Then, of course, the film festival endured 8 years of the next administration, and then, of course, 4 years of Biden. And now, 11 years later, we are obviously looking at very different times than 2015, 2016. And given that you study 150 films that you review every year, and you're in touch with people who come from a raw and authentic perspective, what are you noticing about what the streets are saying? What's happening out here that's now manifesting itself in the form of film with respect to consciousness?
Jesse, I think we lost Marco for a second there.
I think we did. Let me ask you the question then, Atiba. What do you think has changed that might be affecting the content of what the streets are saying about where we are?
Well, I think, first off, social media. One of the things that Marco and I talked about last week was the fact that here in Miami, you can drive through Wynwood, you can drive through so many different segments of the city, and you'll see camera crews. I've seen people who are out recording music videos. And as we started talking to Marco, it just came to my mind, one, Regina King, who filmed the movie a few years ago, talking about what possibly Jim Brown, Muhammad Ali, I'm trying to remember the singer right offhand, but what may have said the night that Ali won his fight. And it made me also start thinking about the Ava DuVernay, Sam Cooke, the Spike Lees, the Shonda Rhimes, the Antoine Fuqua, who now has a movie that's about to gross $1 billion with Michael Jackson's film, is that, access and opportunity. And if you think about the movie Black Panther, we got excited about Black Panther, but the beauty about Black Panther, in my opinion, was the fact that it went global and it became $1 billion franchise. And what changed is, yes, I think President Obama becoming president helped to change that. I remember the former Senate President Emil Jones talking about when he was the speaker, that how things changed because of his position. Well, that's the same thing that happened with Obama, but then that's the same thing that's happened when you think about where things were with Spike Lee back in the 80s and where Black filmmakers are now, and having access and opportunities that organizations like Marco's are providing to these young people. It's giving them those opportunities they didn't have before.
Marco, welcome back. I know we had a technical difficulty for just a moment. Marco, I'd asked the question just before before the technical difficulty, that around the time that you started the film festival, Barack Obama's administration was coming to an end, and we had 4 years of another administration, 4 years of Biden, and now we find ourselves at a real crossroads as a people. And given that you review, as many as 150 films a year that are raw, that are authentic, what content-wise are you noticing that may or may not be changing with respect to messaging? What are the streets saying, Marco?
I mean, that's the most beautiful thing about film. We speak through our film, right? We speak through our conscience, like rappers speak through their music, right? So, I mean, you see a lot of films right now that are reflective upon the circumstance we're in. You see a lot of, MAGA, films against MAGA. You see a lot of films against, when BLM was happening, you saw a lot of BLM supporting films. Now you see a lot of films that are going at MAGA. They're going at, what's going on with the immigrants. There's a lot of, films about what's going on in Palestine. You're always going to see the global issues in the content makers from the inner city because they're in it, right? We have a lot of amazing films that came from some of our Latin filmmakers out of more like the West Coast side that are dealing with a lot of the immigration stuff, right? Those are some of the heart-wrenching ones. And some of the Haitian community put out some films that were, about immigration as well that were super emotional, right? I mean, we speak through our content, and you can definitely see the content and it reflects what's going on in our communities. And
I can only imagine the content is not what we see on the news. I mean, it's the real raw story from people who are experiencing it, not the 1 minute and 30-second story that appears on the news, but what's behind the story, what's really going on.
Right. I mean, I'm from so I also live in Homestead, Florida, which is has a lot of a Mexican community. And a film came out of that area, was called The American Dream. And it was about a family that came from Mexico to America, right? And it was just about everything they had to go through with choosing whether they were going to stay and die or come to America, right? And them coming to America, the journey of coming to America, how intense it was. And then even while they get here, they're still treated as the outsiders. But it's like we came from persecution, basically. We would either had to be in gangs or we would have gotten killed. So like, no matter how bad this is still better because we're alive and we have an opportunity. And that's as real as it gets. Like, so when you see that type of story, you're rooting for them. I don't care what community you're from, I don't care how you felt about it before. When you see these stories, you're like, man, I mean, I'm happy these people made it and I want to see them do well. Right. Wow. But these are the type of stories that we have to make, and then we have to help them get those stories out to the masses, because this is why that's why film's so important, because we're able to educate each other about real life stuff that we just would never know or see because we're not of that culture. So it brings cultures closer, it brings people together. It's about love, really. It's about love. Yeah.
Atiba?
Yeah, thank you for that, Marco. I mean, and it made me start thinking about my friends from Iran and going to see Persian films in DC, and actually getting to see the difference between a Middle Eastern film compared to an American film. Our American films often that come from out of Hollywood have a happy ending, but those films don't, and they actually leave you wanting to think. And so I think it's really amazing how you tied that all together in terms of, and it was a great question, Jesse, in terms of what are the streets telling us, because there's so much stuff that's going on. So now is there anything, I'm wearing my midterms effing matter shirt, and I'm wondering, is there anything coming from the streets that is speaking to the election? I know a couple of years ago, some of it was about not voting, but is there any of it now about voting?
We have about a minute and 5 seconds.
Yeah, I saw we had a piece that came in about the redistricting, like the redistricting of the lines and everything, and the person was saying how everybody came out to vote and they still lost, right? And it was this thing where everybody came out to vote, but yet they still lost. In the community, they always used to win. Right. And now they had this guy that was in charge that was just getting rid of all the accomplishments that had been done over the last, say, 20 years, just washing it all out, kind of like what's going on nationally. It was happening on a local level. And it was really the goal was just really for them to stress the importance of local voting. Right. And how important the strength of the locals are. And, so, I mean, that's one I saw. But I mean, yeah, like you guys said, the streets they're always going to make real content. My youth program, we're making something like that over the summer. We're making, some voting stuff over the summer. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We're talking about the Urban Film Festival, a major 3-day event in Miami, Florida, founded by executive producer Marco Molinet. He's our very special guest in our conversation with Atiba. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580 in just a moment.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. JFK International is one of 4 U.S. airports designated for passengers arriving from African countries impacted by Ebola.
We cannot and will not allow any cases of Ebola to enter the United States.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio says travelers from the Congo, South Sudan, and Uganda will also be screened at Dulles, Hartsfield-Jackson, Atlanta, and George Bush Intercontinental in Houston. Maryland's Black Attorney General Anthony Brown has named members to a commission investigating young Black children who died at a former state-supported facility in Prince George's County. The group will study unmarked graves and recommend ways to honor their lives. And the Supreme Court is siding with death row inmate Terry Pitchford, a Black man, in a case involving alleged racial discrimination during jury selection. Justices ruled Mississippi prosecutors wrongly rejected 4 of 5 potential Black jurors. The ruling invalidates Pitchford's conviction, but the state can retry him. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Hard Rock Casino Tejo, where every bite equals rewards time. Savor bold flavors at Deep Cut Steak and Seafood. Discover your love for Pan Asian at Yu or grab a classic at Hard Rock Cafe. Sign up for Unity by Hard Rock today. Must be 21 years of age or older. Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Big props to Major League Baseball for bringing back the HBCU Swingman Classic. The Classic is scheduled for July 10th in Philadelphia during Major League Baseball's All-Star Weekend in Philly. This will be the fourth year MLB has set up a showcase for HBCU baseball players to get exposure in front of scouts and personnel executives from all 32 MLB teams. The top 50 HBCU players in the country will be divided among two teams for a game at Citizens Bank Park, home of the Philadelphia Phillies and site of the MLB All-Star Game on July 14th. MLB picks up all expenses for the 50 players and gives them access to All-Star Weekend activities. The timing of the Swingman Classic is important. The Classic is one day before the start of the Major League Baseball Draft. The 3-day draft will be conducted in Philadelphia beginning July 11th. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We love America in spite of, not because of.
And that's the deepest kind of love.
This is KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Let's be real. For too long, too many of our students have sat in overcrowded classrooms in underfunded public schools.
But as head of the San Diego School Board, Richard Barrera changed that.
Under Barrera's leadership, student literacy rose from the state average all the way to #1 among major urban school districts. Barrera led the way for smaller classrooms and for teachers to be paid what they're worth.
Barrera funded more counselors and mental health services, and community schools that teach real-world skills for future jobs.
A community organizer who became an education leader to fight for our kids. The only candidate for State Superintendent of Public Instruction,
backed by the 310,000 classroom educators of the California Teachers Association. Vote Democrat Richard Barrera for State Superintendent.
Ad paid for by California Teachers Association Independent Expenditure Committee, not authorized by a candidate or committee controlled by a candidate.
My name is Cynthia Mitchell. I've been an emergency room nurse in Los Angeles County for 25 years. I've been there through every fire season, every outbreak, every earthquake. Every time Los Angeles needed us, the doctors and nurses of Los Angeles County showed up. And right now, I'm seeing another disaster coming. Trump's cuts to Los Angeles County's healthcare system are a public health crisis in the making. Medi-Cal, public hospitals, disaster preparedness are all at risk, but we can stop it. Measure ER fights back against these cuts. For a half a penny, we keep emergency rooms open, care within reach for working families, and doctors and nurses serving the communities we love. When you vote yes on Measure ER, you're not just voting for health care, you're voting for LA. Vote yes on Measure ER by June 2nd.
Ad paid for by Yes on ER, Restore Healthcare for Angelinos, sponsored by St. John's Community Health and Health Justice Action Fund. Ad committee top funder, St. John's Community Health.
Let's celebrate.
Y'all did it!
Loving each other, needing each other.
Hey, Los Angeles. KBLA Talk 1580 is turning 5, and we're celebrating in a big way.
Oh my God!
Join us Friday, June 19th, Juneteenth, 4 to 7 p.m. at the Beehive for our 5th anniversary bash and Juneteenth celebration. We're talking surprise celebrity guests, a special presentation, and a major announcement you will not want to miss.
I can't wait to hear it.
Plus, live music, dancing, games, and enough food and drink to keep the party going.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Of course, you're welcome to bring your own picnic basket, blanket, and lawn chair. And the best part, it's completely free. But here's the thing. You've got to sign up in advance. Space is limited, so don't wait. Head to KBLA1580.com right now and lock in your spot. Friday, June 19th, The Beehive, KBLA Talk 1580. 5 years strong, and we're just getting started.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Yeah, man.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We're in conversation on Thought Provoking Thursday with Atiba. Atiba worked as a TV political contributor for BNC News, In the Heat, In the Know with Mo, The Heat, The Leslie Marshall Show. He's produced a web series by Washington, D.C., the D.C. political newspaper, The Hill. And in 2020, Atiba released his first novel, Saving Grace, a political thriller. Atiba, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. And thank you very much for bringing our very special guest, Marco Molinet. Marco is dedicated to educating, exposing, and providing distribution opportunities for underrepresented Black and minority filmmakers, telling raw, independent urban stories. Highlights of the festival, Urban Film Festival, a major 3-day event in Miami, Florida. Completely free, professional development classes, screenings, hands-on master classes, workshops, panels with industry experts, and youth initiatives, giving young people an opportunity to interact with some of the biggest players in the industry. Atiba and Marco, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thanks, Jesse.
Marco, let me just throw this out there, and then I'm going to pretty much turn it over to Atiba because I know he has a number of questions that he wants to ask. The stories. Narratives that have historically come for our people out of Hollywood, and I am not going to delve into the present because many of them I have not had time to really catch up on. But the stories when I was growing up, Sanford and Son, the Jeffersons, moving on up to the East Side, all of that right there was reflective of the way Hollywood saw our community, and therefore they portrayed us as less intelligent than we were, less hardworking than we work, and obviously less patriotic than we are. And when I was in prison, one of the things that sustained me during that period was to hear the stories. I mean, every brother in the joint had a different story, man. I was like, okay, now, and I, by the way, when I was in the joint at Atiba, I never met anyone in there who was guilty of anything. Everybody's innocent. I'm saying some of this can't be true. We all have done something. So, but I never met an innocent person while I was in the joint for 30 months. And so I find it fascinating that Marco is hearing the stories of our people and the stories of diverse people at a time when books are being banned, classrooms are cutting down content, school systems are shutting down our stories, trying to get roots. Imagine that with Alex Haley back in the schools. And then here comes Marco with the determination to bring authentic and raw stories forward at a film festival to the tune of what? 1,500 reviews of various films over the last 10 years. Pretty remarkable, Marco. And congratulations for uplifting our truth.
He said he couldn't hear you, Jesse.
Oh, well, I don't want to go through that again. Marco, can you hear us now? Atiba, I think I'm going to have to let you answer while.
Yeah, and I wish I'm sure Marco has something way more eloquent than I do. But when you mention those shows, and I smiled, and then you also tied into that this was how when you mentioned the Jeffersons and Sanford and Son, you know, for me, it made me think about how we weren't on television back then. And we were just happy to see somebody was moving on up. But
George and Weezy, they were a lot now.
and when we heard George say to you honky.
Oh, George gave Archie Bunker. George used to give Archie Bunker a fit.
Yeah, I mean, but for us, it was real life. And to me, that's where the arts, that's where, you know, all of this into me ties in, because you get to hear and see the perspective that's coming from diverse audiences and diverse communities. And I just think it's really important. And so even though we're living in a time when the idea of being woke is considered to be a bad thing, these films help us to understand the different perspectives of different communities and different folks. And being it that it's coming so raw, I'm looking forward to the film festival and being able to see, you know, what's out there and listening and hearing where the rubber is meeting the road from filmmakers.
Marco?
Yeah. I mean, I really caught the tail end of the question, but basically, I think that, like, you know, saying the film festival is extremely important. I mean, it's a need for the film to be able to get their stories out. I mean, right now you currently find us on urbanfilmfestivals.com is our best. That's our website, and then Instagram, we're Urban Film Festival. You know, if you go on Film Freeway, which is a popular platform that filmmakers use to submit for film festivals, you can find us on the Urban Film Festival. And, you know, if you talk to us, we talk back. We're very communicative. You know, people come out, you know, we become part of the community, and we please invite everybody that's interested in film or just want to celebrate, that are Black film enthusiasts or just inner city, Black, urban, Spanish, Latin, any type of urban film enthusiasts to come out and support our young filmmakers at the Urban Film Festival for free in Miami, Labor Day weekend at the Silver Spot Cinema downtown. And we do our youth component in Overtown to start our festival off. And then we have our Welcome to Miami party at the legendary Red Rooster. All right. So, you know, we just invite everybody to come out and celebrate, you know, Black cinema and Spanish cinema and urban cinema. And we appreciate you guys giving us this platform to be able to talk about, you know, the programs that we're doing and the opportunities that we're giving.
That's the easiest part of our day. Give us that website again, will you, Marco?
It's Urban Film Festivals with an S at the end.com. That's the website, Urban Film Festivals. And on Instagram, it's the same name as well, Urban Film Festival. And Facebook and social media is a beautiful tool to really see what's going on. We do a lot of posting. The filmmakers are the actual people that pretty much run the social media, because they're the ones posting. We just repost all their stories, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, like last year we had over 5,000 people that registered and came to the film festival, which is just a lot of people. You know, we had, you know, close to about 800 people fly in from outside of South Florida to take hotels at our hosting hotel. We sold out our hotel and had a spillover all over the city. So, I mean, you know, everybody's involved. All the city commissioners are behind it. The mayor's behind it. I also sit on the film advisory board for Miami-Dade County. They're super behind it. Broward's behind it. Miami DDA, which that's where me and Atiba were at, they're super behind it. The tourism board, GMCVB, they're behind it. You know, so the whole entire community has come together to support this initiative. It's a very important initiative. And we just really, really, really appreciate the support of our community. And we ask everybody that wants to be a part of this, please come. It's such a great event. It's, you know, there's other great film festivals as well. And I support all film festivals because I think they're all educational and they're all, you know, good for community building. But I really think that we have something special. And I really think that anyone that wants to be in this space should really come out and celebrate with us.
Marco, thank you for joining Atiba and myself in conversation today. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More than a word of hope, he just gave us a word of action, ways in which we can communicate our messages to large numbers of people. We've been invited to the Urban Film Festival, a 3-day event in Miami, Florida on Labor Day weekend. Give me that website one more time very quickly.
Urban Film Festivals, www.urbanfilmfestivals.com. FILMFESTIVALS.com.
Thank you, brother. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More conversation with Atiba when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, KBLA listeners, this is Stephen Bradford, candidate for State Insurance Commissioner on June 2nd. I've spent my entire life as a public servant on the Gardena City Council, the State Assembly, and the State Senate, standing up for working families, small businesses, seniors, and communities that are too often left behind. I'm running for State Insurance Commissioner because we need an advocate, a watchdog, who will make sure insurance is not only available, but affordable for all Californians. I, like you, am tired of being dropped from coverage after doing everything right, or wondering if anyone is on your side after a disaster strikes. I will be your strongest advocate to make sure we have a vibrant insurance market that creates greater competition and more choices for consumers like yourself. We need a market that serves all of California. As your next insurance commissioner, I will be that warrior to make sure all Californians have affordable insurance. Your ballots have arrived. I ask you to vote for Stephen Bradford as your next insurance commissioner. Stephen Bradford, a name you know. Stephen Bradford, a name you can trust. Vote by June 2nd.
Paid for by Stephen Bradford for Insurance Commissioner.
Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
Let's be real. For too long, too many of our students have sat in overcrowded classrooms in underfunded public schools.
But as head of the San Diego School Board, Richard Barrera changed that.
Under Barrera's leadership, student literacy rose from the state average all the way to #1 among major urban school districts. Barrera led the way for smaller classrooms and for teachers to be paid what they're worth.
Barrera funded more counselors and mental health services, and community schools that teach real-world skills for future jobs.
A community organizer who became an education leader to fight for our kids. The only candidate for State Superintendent of Public Instruction,
backed by the 310,000 classroom educators of the California Teachers Association. Vote Democrat Richard Barrera for State Superintendent.
Ad paid for by California Teachers Association Independent Expenditure Committee, not authorized by a candidate or committee controlled by a candidate.
His mother was a teacher and activist. His father was a Navy veteran. He built a company worth billions, and then he walked away from it, turning from profit to purpose, helping those who need it most. That's Tom Steyer. When big oil tried to pollute our air and water, Tom fought to stop them and won. When corporations were dodging taxes, Tom closed the loophole and got billions for public schools. And when party leaders were afraid to take on Trump, he led a movement to impeach him.
This president is unfit, he's dangerous, and we need to get rid of him.
Now, Trump is attacking Tom because, like the oil companies and the tax cheats, Donald Trump knows Tom Steyer answers to no one and will do whatever it takes to stop special interests and start lowering costs for Californians.
I can't do it by myself. I need you guys to be with me, and we need to do this together.
Politicians make promises. Tom Steyer makes a difference. Make sure you vote Tom Steyer for governor, June 2nd.
Ad paid for by Steyer for Governor 2026.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580. Your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically
Success is picking up extra shifts for your family. Now you want to be the boss. Success is getting your foot in the door. Now you want to take the next step. Success looks different to everyone, and University of Maryland Global Campus can help you reach your goals. And there's never been a better time to get started on your future. No application fee if you apply by June 1st. As an accredited state university, UMGC has been transforming lives for over 75 years. With more than 135 undergraduate and graduate degrees and certificates, online and hybrid courses, personalized support, financial resources, and lifetime career services, achieving your dreams is more possible than ever before. Choose the program that's right for your career goals and get started on your next success. No application fee if you apply by June 1st. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Shell.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on Thought Provoking Thursdays. We are in conversation with Atiba Marco Mal-Molinet, amazing figure, doing amazing work. And he's doing it at a time when people, quite frankly, let's be honest, the internet, social media is providing us 2.5 minute vignettes on our history, on the stories of people, most of it shock media, outrage for clicks and for likes. And here is Marco Mal-Molinet carefully determining which films that he wants to see distributed, I'm assuming in a larger group as well, that deal with raw, authentic truth. That's unusual in this environment. Atiba?
It's unusual and it's powerful. And, it's an example for all of us in terms of, I was talking to someone yesterday about TikTok. I swear, I have no idea how to use TikTok.
Me either.
but it is a medium that has, caught fire that people use. And like you said, unfortunately, people are getting their information in these 2.5 minute vignettes, but information indeed they're still getting. So, it's like, how do you play that game? Well, Marco, in my opinion, is playing that game. He's not even just playing the game. He's like, basically, coach, put me in the game, coach. And he's in the game, and so, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to see and to hear what other people are saying. It's the thing too, Jesse, that I enjoy about wearing these shirts, because I never know who I'm going to talk to. And it's not just about the shirt or wearing the message. It's about hearing what are the concerns of people, whether or not we agree or not. And, we might watch a film and we might like it. We might not like it, but one way or the other, something attracts us to get us to watch it.
Well, midterms do effing matter. How can we get these t-shirts, and share with us more about the midterms effing matter movement? Atiba?
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you for that. It's midtermseffingmatter.com. The website, you can go there. You can tell your friends, tell your family. If you go on the site, you can register to vote. You can check and make sure that your registration is still valid. You can find out where your polling place is. You can find out what's on your ballot. And there are a number of other websites you can go to. On our website, you can also scroll down to the bottom. And if you want to wear this message and be thought-provoking and audacious, there we have some gear that you can also purchase there. And if you do decide to purchase it, please use the code 2026 MFM, and you'll get 25% off of your purchase. But ultimately, whatever proceeds and everything that we get from there, we have some other things that we want to do. We want to create some videos. We did it in 2020 where we had people come into a park in Georgetown in Washington, D.C. that is lined with with graffiti, and we asked people to share why they wanted to vote, and we used the hashtag You Matter, because the reason why we vote is because you matter. And so we're just one of hopefully thousands or tens of thousands of others that are out here that recognize that in order to win this election, we have to vote in numbers that are too large to manipulate the outcome. For us, we think that we have to make it, we know that this is a serious issue, but we also need to make it fun in a way to keep people engaged and keep people wanting to bring other people to the party. And so we have a lot of work to do. It's going to be I don't know if it's going to be a long summer, Jesse, or a short summer, but it's going to be a summer. And
it's going to be a hot one. I believe that politically as well as this weather. Hey, let me ask you a question. I mean, the shirt itself is provocative. Can you share with us, and I think you touched upon it briefly a few moments ago, what is the response when people see you walk into a place with a shirt that says midterms effing matter? It's got to be an immediate conversation.
Yeah, of course. Funny thing, because and sometimes people think, oh, are you a college professor? Because they think midterms. And I tell them, no, I'm not a college professor, but it is a test.
Wow.
It's a test of how many people we can get to go vote. And so, and it's funny because it actually leads to conversations. I can't tell you how many times people walk by me and they'll just say they do, and you're right, and so, at first I thought of course, I'm in Florida, you never know, what kind of reaction you're going to get from people. But overall, it's whether or not regardless of your political affiliation, we want you to vote. We believe, of course, that people who are voting this go round, that we have a number of issues to vote for. And I think we have, honestly, Jesse, and the more that I talk to people, we have a way more in common than we do differences. And one of those things that we have in common is that we're paying way too much money at the pump right now for a war that's going on that doesn't make any sense.
It's really interesting because midterms do effing matter. Obviously, Senator Cornyn is no longer going to be representing the state of Texas. And now we're looking at Tellerico versus Paxton in the general election. And all preliminary signs suggest that Democrats may be able to flip a seat. And that is in no small measure because midterms effing matter. T-Bot, I did not mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine. Thank you for that, Jesse, because the thing is that I think that what people are going to recognize too is that we started talking about this months ago about affordability. But the thing is that it's not just Democrats or African Americans or Hispanic Americans that are feeling the brunt of what is happening with the economy. All of us, no matter whether or not you're wealthy, middle class, poor, ultra poor, everyone is feeling the brunt of decisions that seem to be, in my opinion, a sense of give me what's in your pocket. I don't care who you are. It's basically all of us are being robbed blind. The bank door is open, and there are reasons that we're going to keep saying that midterms effing matter and that we have to go and vote in numbers too large to manipulate the outcome. And in doing so, we have to call on those from the past who showed us the way forward, because I do truly believe that we can change the direction of this country, but we have to figure out how to do it together.
Thank you, Brother Atiba. Enjoy my conversations with you every week.
Same here, Jesse. I'm
Jesse Jackson Jr. When we come forward, we'll be in the World House with Dr. Johnny Mack. More when we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. JFK International is one of 4 U.S. airports designated for passengers arriving from African countries impacted by Ebola.
We cannot and will not allow any cases of Ebola to enter the United States.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio says travelers from the Congo, South Sudan, and Uganda will also be screened at Dulles, Hartsfield Jackson, Atlanta, and George Bush Intercontinental in Houston. Maryland's Black Attorney General Anthony Brown has named members to a commission investigating young Black children who died at a former state-supported facility in Prince George's County. The group will study unmarked graves and recommend ways to honor their lives. And the Supreme Court is siding with death row inmate Terry Pitchford, a black man, in a case involving alleged racial discrimination during jury selection. Justices ruled Mississippi prosecutors wrongly rejected 4 of 5 potential black jurors. The ruling invalidates Pitchford's conviction, but the state can retry him. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Hard Rock Casino Tejo, where every bite equals rewards time. Savor bold flavors at deep cut steak and seafood. Discover your love for Pan Asian at Yu or grab a classic at Hard Rock Cafe. Sign up for Unity by Hard Rock today. Must be 21 years of age or older. Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Big props to Major League Baseball for bringing back the HBCU Swingman Classic. The Classic is scheduled for July 10th in Philadelphia during Major League Baseball's All-Star Weekend in Philly. This will be the 4th year MLB has set up a showcase for HBCU baseball players to get exposure in front of scouts and personnel executives from all 32 MLB teams. The top 50 HBCU players in the country will be divided among 2 teams for a game at Citizens Bank Park, home of the Philadelphia Phillies and site of the MLB All-Star Game on July 14th. MLB picks up all expenses for the 50 players and gives them access to All-Star Weekend activities. The timing of the Swingman Classic is important. The Classic is 1 day before the start of the Major League Baseball Draft. The 3-day draft will be conducted in Philadelphia beginning July 11th. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's celebrate. Y'all did it. Loving each other, needing each other.
Hey, Los Angeles, KBLA Talk 1580 is turning 5, and we're celebrating in a big way.
Oh my God!
Join us Friday, June 19th, Juneteenth, 4 to 7 p.m. at the Beehive for our 5th anniversary bash and Juneteenth celebration. We're talking surprise celebrity guests, a special presentation, and a major announcement you will not want to miss.
I can't wait to hear it.
Plus, live music, dancing, games, and enough food and drink to keep the party going.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Of course, you're welcome to bring your own picnic basket, blanket, and lawn chair. And the best part, it's completely free. But here's the thing. You've got to sign up in advance. Space is limited, so don't wait. Head to KBLA1580.com right now and lock in your spot. Friday, June 19th, the Beehive, KBLA Talk 1580. 5 years strong, and we're just getting started.
Happy anniversary, KBLA! Yeah, man! Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm expecting Dr. Johnny Mack to join us in just a few moments. But I do want to thank Annette Cousin and Sharon Ashley from the city of Chicago, Lynette Purple, Angel Alexander, reaching out to us on social media. Quincy Alexander says, "Go Spurs, go." Well, good luck with that. And I also want to thank Tracy Van Zant Foyles for being a faithful listener to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, and Barbara Jean, of course, and Hal 9000, as well as our brothers and sisters who are listening to us live in South Africa. So grateful that you're joining. You know, I'm sitting here reflecting about the 250th anniversary, and I don't have any notes in front of me, but while I buy myself some time before Johnny Mack gets here, I want to remind everyone that between 1619 and when we arrived, 19 scared Africans in Jamestown, Virginia, to the date July 4th, 1776. The African in America had known 157 July 4ths where that day didn't mean a darn thing. It did not change our circumstances one way or the other. From 1619, inclusive, to July 4th, 1776, the first 19 scared Africans arrived in August. There were 157 July 4ths. Of course, there was no Declaration of Independence. We were here before Jefferson. And when Jefferson penned the magnificent words of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776, whatever it was he was writing, it didn't apply to us. Because from July 4th, 1776, until the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863, there's another 88 years, another 88 July 4ths where the country is young, but it still doesn't mean anything to us. That's 245 July 4th, where some folk are whistling Dixie, some folks are carrying their camisoles, some folk are riding horses and being distinguished gentlemen and living in plantation-style housing. 245 July 4ths, where it means nothing to the Negro. Nothing. And of course, the hypocrisy is pointed out by Frederick Douglass in his July 4th oration, because our people simply had not known a July 4th that spoke to the values or to the romantic notion of what it means to be an American. And so, July 4th, 2026, when we commemorate on one side of town and celebrate July 4th on the other side of town with fireworks and barbecue and all that comes with the holiday, there will be two different celebrations. One celebration, a reflection on the way America used to be and the birth of the nation. Another reflection on why are we on July 4th fighting to keep Jim Clyburn in Congress and Benny Thompson in Congress, and what of Justin Pearson, and what of Al Green losing his seat in Texas, and Jasmine Crockett not coming back to the Congress or to the Senate? What does it mean when every single thing we fought for, from Brown versus the Board of Education to the present, is on the chopping block, when our women are fired from the federal government to the tune of 300,000 of them, and there are no plans to bring them back that we have seen offered by a single Democratic candidate? Don't even talk about black women no more. And I mean it, from California to Illinois to whoever else is running for president. I ain't heard one say yet, on day one, I'm doing an executive order to rehire these women with children, women with husbands, women with significant others, women who pay mortgages, women who pay car bills, and we haven't heard a single Democrat say a single thing about it. And I heard the Black Caucus, well, y'all should be glad I'm not there, because I really would have read them the riot act. First thing we're going to do when we regain control of Congress is we're going to go after Trump and his family. No, the first thing you're going to do is rehire these sisters. That's what you're going to do. The first thing you're going to do is put these programs back in place so our children can get into these institutions of higher learning, so they can become medical doctors and lawyers who can help us with health disparities. That's the first thing we're going to do. Now, let the Judiciary Committee handle the Donald Trump problem. All of us ain't going to be on the Judiciary Committee. Let them handle that problem. Don't get caught up in what they are fighting about when the issues are so prescient in the Black community at this hour. We have no choice but to defend and fight for ourselves. We got Black folks on their way to Congress, prepared to fight for Israel. You better fight for your community. We got Black folk on their way to Congress talking about saving Social Security. He just spent the Social Security money in the defense budget. If you're not prepared to go to Washington or to your state legislature and fight for our community, you shouldn't be running at all. We don't need any more moderate brothers and sisters acting like they can I can get along with white folks and Republicans. I get along with conservatives. My dad did. Dr. King did. You ain't the only Negro ever learned how to talk to white folks. We all talk to white folks. We deal with white folks every day. We need fighters who are specific to what our concerns are and our needs are. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. 250 years of this in the making. More when we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Dell PCs with Intel inside are built for the moments you plan and the ones you don't. For the time you forgot your charger at the gate.
Passengers, we are now on our initial ascent.
Or when you're bouncing between projects like a ping pong ball. We build PCs with long-lasting battery life, so you're not scrambling for an outlet. And built-in intelligence, so you can stay focused on whatever you're doing. Dell Technologies, built for you. Dell.com/Dell PCs.
There is no denying that we've always been the conscience of this country. KBLA Talk 1580 is progressive talk radio built for our community, by our community, and with hosts who look like you, live near you, and care about what you care about. 50,000 watts of truth right here in Southern California. KBLA Talk 1580. Listen live on your AM radio dial at 1580 or stream us live on our KBLA1580.com website or on our free KBLA 1580 app.
Unapologetically progressive.
From the people who brought you It's the Dog Park comes.
It's a hot spot on your dog's leg. That the internet says you can treat it at home. You're not sure though, because now it's oozing.
Protect your dog from injury and illness with Progressive Pet Insurance.
Ooh, he's licking it. Super gross, dude.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Coverage subject to policy terms.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
The joint will be jumping. Ebony Repertory Theater, in association with Fig Street Films, brings you one of the most beloved musicals of all time. Tony Award winner, Ain't Misbehavin'. The soulful, swinging celebration of the music of Fats Waller. From the rollicking to the romantic, this show is pure magic, full of the songs that defined an era and the voices that'll make you forget everything else for a night. Foot stomping, heart stirring, unforgettable. Don't miss Ain't Misbehavin' at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center, starring Lettucey, directed by Ren T. Brown. This is the night out you've been waiting for. Tickets are going fast, so don't wait. Grab yours now at ebonyrep.org or call the box office today at 323-964-9766. Ebony Repertory Theater, bringing the culture, keeping the legacy alive.
Ain't Misbehavin' runs May 21st through June 8th at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. Get your tickets now.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. And you might have one full hour with just me today, and that's okay because I can handle it. I got a lot to talk about on this 250th anniversary. But we have to start and be on the same page. That's the first thing that we have to do. Let us acknowledge that In Jamestown, Virginia in 1619, 19 scared Africans who had been stripped from their homeland had no idea where the hell they were. Some of their compatriots did not make the journey successfully. Some of them were thrown overboard and fed to the fish to attract fish for the pirates to eat fish on the long journey. Some of them never made it to America. Some of our brothers and sisters on the same journey. The wind took them to Cuba, and the wind took some of them to South America. The wind took some of them to Haiti and to Jamaica. But 19 scared ones of us landed in Jamestown, Virginia. And that was in August of 1619, when our blood, our ancestry, our spirit energy, the history of time eternal arrived right here on the shores of what will become, or what would become, the United States. So there had been a January 1st all the way through a December 31st in 1619. We arrived in August. On July 1st, 1620, July 4th, 1620, less than a year, 11 months after we arrived, wasn't nobody talking about no Independence Day, because that didn't happen until 1776. So July 4th for the Negro slave was just another day. For 157 July 4ths, whatever they're talking about in Virginia, whatever they're talking about in Philadelphia, it has nothing to do with us. That's a fact. And there were 157 of such July 4ths. And then from the writing of the Declaration of Independence, just a few short years later, on September 17th, 1787, the United States Constitution was signed in New York and Philadelphia, and we began living under a constitutional government. And July 4th, for another 88 years until the Emancipation Proclamation, them 88 July 4ths, from July 4th, 1776 to the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, them 88 July 4th, they were the same as the first 157 July 4th. Just another day. Just another day on the plantation, just another day of disrespect, just another day of torture, just another day of yasabos, just another day of slavery, just another day of being treated as property, just another day of rape, just another day of lynchings and whoopings and castration, just another day. Our children are sold from underneath us. Our wives, our homes are divided and split. Wake up one day with the wife, wake up the next day she's been sold or pregnant by a master down the street. 245 of those. And then the Emancipation Proclamation. And then January 1st, 1864. On that January, we walked into a new America. And July 4th, 1864 was just a little bit different. Somehow, what had taken place in Gettysburg had changed the spirit energy of the nation to something we might become. So in November of that year, after the Battle of Gettysburg, from July 1st, 1863 to July 4th, the end of the Gettysburg Battle. In November of that year, with thousands of men still lying dead in the battlefield. Think about that. July, August, September, October, November. Lincoln comes back to deliver the Gettysburg Address in November after a hot summer, and the Gettysburg dead haven't been buried yet. Why did he speak for only 3.5 minutes? Imagine the smell. Imagine the senses of the men who had paid the ultimate sacrifice that the Union might have a victory. Now, interestingly enough, if you were a Confederate on July 1st and you were meeting in Gettysburg for the Great Battle, or you were a Union troop meeting in Gettysburg for the first battle, if in fact you were fighting for the Confederacy on July 1st, you wanted to win Gettysburg. Why? Because your interpretation of July 4th would be the nation's interpretation of July 4th today if you had won Gettysburg. Because forever, the definition of liberty would be defined by what the Southerners say liberty is, and we already know what that was. So when the North won the war at Gettysburg on July 4th, Abraham Lincoln in November came all the way back to Gettysburg to dedicate the battlefield, and in that dedication, he delivered the Gettysburg Address. And in that Gettysburg Address, that 3.5-minute speech, Lincoln shares with the nation the new meaning of July 4th going forward, because these first 245 July 4ths were exclusive and not inclusive. We were a nation that was becoming something different after Gettysburg. By July 4th, 1865, we were on our way to a 13th Amendment. By July 4th, 1867, we were en route to a 14th Amendment. By July 4th, 1870, we were on our way to a 15th Amendment. By July 4th, 1880, the July 4ths that were in front of us were different than the July 4ths that were behind us. There was no more slavery in the form that it had presented itself in, known as chattel slavery. The great battle is always what July 4th is going to look like and what it's going to be like. My late father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, in a very difficult state, campaigned in 9 states that were sensitive to the Democratic victory in the last campaign. If Kamala Harris had been successful, we went to Minnesota, we went to Wisconsin, and we campaigned in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and all across the state of Pennsylvania, North Carolina, oftentimes driving my father to these very locations. And because my dad could not speak, they would introduce my dad. Dad would wave, but then they would give me the microphone and I would share with them. The question before us is, what is July 2026 going to look like? What will July 4th in 2026 look like? It's recorded. I posted it all on Facebook. All the speeches are right there. What will it look like? It is either going to be Donald Trump in July 2026 trying to redefine liberty with a ballroom, with an arch, sending immigrants out of the country, removing diversity, equity, and inclusion, fighting Harvard and Yale and denying African Americans, Hispanics, and others access to these institutions that over the first 245 years of the nation discriminated against us and would not let us in. We had to fight for land grant institutions in the southern states to get into college because the very white colleges that young black men are being asked to play football in, play basketball in right now, would not let us in their colleges, state schools during Jim Crow. And so at the turn of the last century, most of these historically black colleges and universities have their founding in the early 1900s, the late 1890s, to educate the newly freed men and women so that they might become productive citizens in a new order, because July 4th was towards a new definition. And now, in 2026, we find ourselves preparing to get our ribs together, get our beer together, have our family reunions together, get our hoopties together. I don't know what they call those cars out in LA where you hit the button and they start jumping and all that. We're going to be jumping through Crenshaw and jumping through without very little reflection to what this July 4th this year truly means. And Atiba says that midterms effing matter. It's because how July 4th this year will be defined will determine how future July 4ths will be defined and celebrated. What I can tell you is July 4th, 1953 was one iteration of America, but July 4th, 1954 was towards, after the May 17th Brown versus the Board of Education decision, March, April, May, June, July. July 4th, 1954, America was wrestling with some very different questions about what it meant to be an American and what its true definition would be. And that comes with the desegregation of the armed services. It comes down with tearing down the walls that separated communities and separated education. It lays the foundation for the civil rights movement of 1964, the Voting Rights Act of 65, and other legislation. But of course, it's hard fought for stuff because some people were still holding on to Jim Crow, and that's how we lost Emmett Till. And that's why Rosa Parks still had to sit down in that same space. And the Democratic Party, the Southern Dixie Democratic Party, was still unwelcoming to us, making Fannie Lou Hamer inevitable and making Shirley Chisholm inevitable as the definition of America began to take on a new meaning. July 4th, 1776 ain't the same as July 4th, 2026. And I don't care how many times they tell you about what happened on July 4th, 1776. Don't you ever give up your critique of what that day was for you if you're a woman and you could not vote. On July 4th, 1776, America was not as welcoming of immigrants then as it is now, and now ain't nothing to be proud of. There was a genocide taking place against Native Americans on July 4th, 1776. And Thanksgiving ain't what you think it is either. In fact, the third Thursday in Thanksgiving, Abraham Lincoln sets it aside as a national day of thanks because the Union had just prevailed in Gettysburg, and he had just delivered the Gettysburg Address. He said, we've got a lot to be thankful for. It had nothing to do with turkeys and Plymouth Rock. Absolutely nothing. Now, over time, Thanksgiving has taken on different meanings because we have a problem in this nation with historical memories, but we cannot, as a people, give up the logic of our stories. Now, I wish I could write down this opine for you, but you can share the post on Facebook. I didn't write this out. I was expecting my good friend Johnny Mack to be joining me in this hour, but still got something on my mind because I know the history well enough to know what I'm looking at when it comes to these questions of who we will be and who we are as a people. But what God has blessed us with is the critique of America that they would love to erase, because they can't explain the first 245 July 4ths. They can't explain it. And the last, since the Gettysburg Address, since the Emancipation Proclamation, since every single July 4th is different because we confront a different iteration of the body politic in this nation, we find ourselves in a real struggle determining the future of the republic itself. And so, like Frederick Douglass, what to the slave is July 4th? What to the Negro, to the woman, to the Hispanic, to anyone is July 4th in an environment where we are losing our rights? I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward. Right here.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. JFK International is one of 4 U.S. airports designated for passengers arriving from African countries impacted by Ebola.
We cannot and will not allow any cases of Ebola to enter the United States.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio says travelers from the Congo, South Sudan, and Uganda will also be screened at Dulles, Hartsfield Jackson, Atlanta, and George Bush Intercontinental in Houston. Maryland's Black Attorney General Anthony Brown has named members to a commission investigating young Black children who died at a former state-supported facility in Prince George's County. The group will study unmarked graves and recommend ways to honor their lives. And the Supreme Court is siding with death row inmate Terry Pitchford, a Black man, in a case involving alleged racial discrimination during jury selection. Justices ruled Mississippi prosecutors wrongly rejected 4 of 5 potential Black jurors. The ruling invalidates Pitchford's conviction, but the state can retry him. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Hard Rock Casino Tejon, where every bite equals rewards time. Savor bold flavors at Deep Cut Steak and Seafood. Discover your love for Pan Asian at Yu or grab a classic at Hard Rock Cafe. Sign up for Unity by Hard Rock today. Must be 21 years of age or older. Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Big props to Major League Baseball for bringing back the HBCU Swingman Classic. The Classic is scheduled for July 10th in Philadelphia during Major League Baseball's All-Star Weekend in Philly. This will be the 4th year MLB has set up a showcase for HBCU baseball players to get exposure in front of scouts and personnel executives from all 32 MLB teams. The top 50 HBCU players in the country will be divided among 2 teams for a game at Citizens Bank Park, home of the Philadelphia Phillies and site of the MLB All-Star Game on July 14th. MLB picks up all expenses for the 50 players and gives them access to All-Star Weekend activities. The timing of the Swingman Classic is important. The Classic is 1 day before the start of the Major League Baseball draft. The 3-day draft will be conducted in Philadelphia beginning July 11th. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Turn the dial to where the truth lives. This is KBLA Talk 1580. In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through this city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580. Your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
My name is Cynthia Mitchell. I've been an emergency room nurse in Los Angeles County for 25 years. I've been there through every fire season, every outbreak, every earthquake. Every time Los Angeles needed us, the doctors and nurses of Los Angeles County showed up. And right now, I'm seeing another disaster coming. Trump's cuts to Los Angeles County's healthcare system are a public health crisis in the making. Medi-Cal, public hospitals, disaster preparedness are all at risk. But we can stop it. Measure ER fights back against these cuts. For a half a penny, we keep emergency rooms open, care within reach for working families, and doctors and nurses serving the communities we love. When you vote yes on Measure ER, you're not just voting for healthcare, you're voting for LA. Vote yes on Measure ER by June 2nd.
Ad paid for by Yes on ER, Restore Healthcare for Angelinos, sponsored by St. John's Community Health and Health Justice Action Fund. Ad committee top funder, St. John's Community Health.
Are you still pouring gallons and gallons of water into a thirsty lawn that never seems to get enough water? LADWP has a special offer for a free water-saving front yard refresh available to eligible LADWP residential customers. LADWP handles all the work, including lawn removal, installing an efficient irrigation system, and planting beautiful California-friendly plants. Save water and lower your bill with a free front yard refresh. See if you qualify at LADWP.com/LEAP. That's LADWP.com/LEAP.
Let's celebrate.
Y'all did it!
Loving each other, needing each other.
Hey, Los Angeles, KBLA Talk 1580 is turning 5, and we're celebrating in a big way.
Oh my God!
Join us Friday, June 19th, Juneteenth, 4 to 7 p.m. at the Beehive for our 5th anniversary bash and Juneteenth celebration. We're talking surprise celebrity guests, a special presentation, and a major announcement you will not want to miss.
I can't wait to hear it.
Plus, live music, dancing, games, and enough food and drink to keep the party going.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Of course, you're welcome to bring your own picnic basket, blanket, and lawn chair. And the best part, it's completely free. But here's the thing. You've got to sign up in advance. Space is limited, so don't wait. Head to KBLA1580.com right now and lock in your spot. Friday, June 19th, The Beehive, KBLA Talk 1580. 5 years strong, and we're just getting started.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Yeah, man. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
Jackson Jr. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We are in the World House with Johnny Mack. Johnny has not joined us, and I am keeping him in my thoughts at this moment because Johnny is faithful to our program and trust that all is well with him wherever he is at this moment. I do want to pick back up where I left off for just a minute and bring in another friend of mine who's going to help me through the balance of the hour. So it's easy to tell the story of America from the perspective that our contribution is a limited contribution, when the fact of the matter is there is no American story without our contribution. Our contribution isn't a side story to the American story. It is central to the evolution and the development of the American story. You can't get states apportioned, congressmen, by population, including the counting of slaves, how the Congress of the United States has been built, including the property interests of the slaves, which is the 3/5 clause, how they would be counted for the purposes of representation. That's about electing a congressman, that the slaves could be counted for that purpose, not for their humanity, but for the purposes of their property, because the rural states did not have enough people in them to have significant members of Congress in the House of Representatives, so they had to count the slaves. That's the 3/5 clause. Ain't nobody took your other 2/5 and ran off with them and hid them from you. No, they needed 3/5 for the purpose because the plantations were made up of a few white folks at the top, but the rest of us were slaves. We have to count them in order to get a congressman out of that arrangement. That's how that happened. And then in the upper chamber of the Congress of the United States, each state was given 2 United States senators. But appropriations bills start in the House. How money is spent starts in the House. So the slave compromise is part of whatever legislation leaves the House, that begins in the House, that ends in the Senate, that is then reconciled and signed by the President of the United States. Whatever law or legislation it is part of a slave compromise. The system itself could not shake the idea of slavery. Here we are in 2026 arguing about our representation. Liberal white folks running around talking about lines, and Trump trying to undo all lines. The court thrown a big old monkey wrench in the middle of the redistricting process, discussing lines and discussing partisanship. There are clauses in the Constitution that lead all the way up to the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that had us counted a certain way, and wealth throughout the nation was appropriated and apportioned to rural areas and urban areas on the basis of those numbers. That's a fact. That's inescapable. Now, not everybody's going to make that argument because they're too busy now making partisan arguments. I'm the Democrat. I'm taking on the MAGA. No, this, you are here because of the apportionment of these Negroes and Negro property over the states and the evolution of this country during these first 245 July 4ths. That's a fact. Inescapable. It's sitting right there in the Constitution. Read it again. Now, when we reflect upon the depth of the problem, I think that, quite frankly, on July 4th, when we reflect upon what America has become with all of its problems, and Lord knows I am confident that God has a place for us in his bosom and has looked out for us as a people because of our resilience and our persistence. But don't forget now, against the backdrop of human history, America is only 250 years old. China, this is a civilization that has been around for millennia. 3,000 years. I mean, the ancient Roman Empire, the ancient Egyptian civilization, the ancient Byzantine civilization. Against the backdrop of history, America's 250 years is a speck in human history. Now, if this doesn't blow your mind, nothing else will on today's radio show. Therefore, slavery is a more common form of organization in human history than freedom. Unfreedom has a longer history of organization in civilizations and empires in the history of the world than the idea of freedom. And then here come America, continuing the history of unfreedom. And then here come God and the Negro, talking about the right to vote and talking about ending slavery constitutionally, talking about ending chattel slavery and fighting to end other forms of discrimination and slavery against women, against the LGBTQ, against people who can't eat, against people who can't get educated. Comes with getting out of slavery. The Negro has asked for, and it has changed the definition of the slave system that America was prepared to continue until the Negro showed up complaining about the system and fighting for his and her rights. See, my guest is here, John. Just give me a few minutes. I may bring you in on the next break because I need to finish this thought because it's heavy on my mind. So the Negro is responsible for democracy in the United States. And as a result of what we have done to this very brief speck of human history called America, 194 countries around the world copied the American experiment and moved in the direction of democracy. In our formative educations, we never talk about our contribution to the world. But when we made America democratic, it made the rest of the world fall in line. Us versus the world and tyranny, and fighting against different forms of slavery in South Africa, and fighting against slavery in South America, and fighting against systems of oppression and capitalism in other parts of the world that takes people's critical minerals and reserves, brings them to a production system that then returns finished products to people without paying people livable wages, and trying to extract from that system health care, benefits, a 5-day work week, extracting from that system a pension fund, extracting from that system fairness for women who head households where there are no men, extracting from that system has been our struggle as African Americans, and we led America into that struggle. That's who we are. That's what we've done. And as America begins to retreat from the idea of democracy, we can expect, without our consistent probing witness, other democracies around the world to collapse as well. That's just how important this little 250-year-old experiment is, not just to your neighborhood, your street, what you think you know, but to the rest of the planet itself. The environment itself hinges upon citizens engaging in government reform to hold the global corporate community accountable to the idea that we all have a right to breathe fresh air and drink clean water. Something that basic that if the companies could, they'd make you pay for it. When Tesla, no, not the one owned by Elon Musk, when Tesla founded the electric current, he wanted electricity to be free. We didn't found a way to sell that. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. My close and dear friend John Diggles will be joining us when we come forward in the final segment of our show. More on KBLA Talk 1580. Happy 250th birthday, America.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's be real. For too long, too many of our students have sat in overcrowded classrooms in underfunded public schools.
But as head of the San Diego School Board, Richard Barrera changed that.
Under Barrera's leadership, student literacy rose from the state average all the way to #1 among major urban school districts. Barrera led the way for smaller classrooms and for teachers to be paid what they're worth.
Barrera funded more counselors and mental health services, and community schools that teach real-world skills for future jobs.
A community organizer who became an education leader to fight for our kids. The only candidate for State Superintendent of Public Instruction,
backed by the 310,000 classroom educators of the California Teachers Association. Vote Democrat Richard Barrera for State Superintendent.
Ad paid for by California Teachers Association Independent Expenditure Committee, not authorized by a candidate or committee controlled by a candidate.
Are you still pouring gallons and gallons of water into a thirsty lawn that never seems to get enough water? LADWP has a special offer for a free water-saving front yard refresh available to eligible LADWP residential customers. LADWP handles all the work, including lawn removal, installing an efficient irrigation system, and planting beautiful California-friendly plants. Save water and lower your bill with a free front yard refresh. See if you qualify at LADWP.com/LEAP. That's LADWP.com/LEAP.
Hi, I'm Chris Holden, former California Assembly member, former mayor of Pasadena, and CEO of LA Fire Justice. I've spent my career fighting for our communities. When I saw Edison celebrating $4.5 billion in profits while Eaton fire survivors struggled to make ends meet, it made me simultaneously sick and furious. Families and individuals are dealing with financial pressure, insurance delays, costly remediation, and the painful question of how to rebuild their lives, while the utility that caused the fire is paying its executives millions and is more profitable than ever. That's not justice. That's a disgrace. Join the lawsuit with LA Fire Justice to hold Edison accountable. We're here to help you, your family, and our community recover. Visit lafirejustice.com today to learn more about your eligibility and how to start.
Advertisement. Douglas Boxer, 221 East Walnut Street, Suite 100, Pasadena, California, 91101 is the attorney responsible for this ad.
LA Fire Justice is proud to sponsor Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-857-4433. 800-857-4433. Again, that's 800-857-4433.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580,
connecting you with services and solutions. The BLM Center for Black Power is a hub for Black activism in the city of Los Angeles, a standalone nonprofit affiliated with Black Lives Matter LA. The venue is home to live events, meetings, and organizing drives for Black-led community-based organizations. It is also the base of operations for Black Lives Matter LA. Built on what used to be a nuisance property owned by an arms dealer, the BLM Center for Black Power is in the heart of Leimert Park and has opened its doors to everything from youth organizers to toy drives to film screenings and community town hall meetings. To make a donation or make a request, please visit blmla.org. That's blmla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. In this final segment, my very close and dear friend John Diggles is joining us. John has trailblazed notable first while serving as a catalyst for growth, change, and reinvention. Recognized for superior achievement and reputation management, John Diggles advises business, faith, and political leaders and brings an expertise in comeback, turnaround, and reinvention strategies. John, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Jesse, it's good to be with you as always.
John, we're normally in Worldwide with Johnny Mac. In the World House with Johnny Mac, usually discussing Martin Luther King Jr., and Johnny is not with us today. But we began a conversation about the 250th anniversary, and I mentioned it to you earlier today. I'm just grateful that you're available for this final moment. And you remind me of a conversation that we had at Northwestern Hospital in the lobby in a restaurant with my family that had been on close watch for my father sometime in the middle of last year.
Yeah.
And I'd like you to share that story with our listeners, John.
You know, it was really powerful. Well, it was a powerful night because your father had gone into the hospital and we were all together. It was my honor to be there with you and your family. And you and I were talking about the meaning of July 4th. And as you know, I'd shared with you that I come from a family of veterans. You know, earlier this week on Memorial Day, you know, we spent every Memorial Day, we would go to parades with our veteran relatives. We would have barbecues with them. We would tour VFW halls. This Memorial Day is recently, obviously, it started at the cemetery with those people, with the family that we, you know, used to have with us, and then going to the parades. And I was sharing that with you, what I learned from coming from a family of veterans. And you shared with me the different definitions of July 4th for so many different Americans. And it took me, I had to hear you out. Because of where I come from, my family of veterans, what they taught me about this day. And after our conversation, I realized July 4th became even more sacred to me, into what it means that this is an ongoing fight, everything people in my family fought for. Now we inherit that fight to keep fighting for freedoms, to keep fighting for our nation to be stronger. It really stuck with me. That conversation was very powerful.
I appreciate that, John. And I shared with our listeners a few moments ago that the first 245 July 4ths have far less meaning than the July 4ths that are constantly evolving as the American system theoretically expands rights, includes new people, new concerns, and looks at human rights fundamentally differently than it did in the first 245 years. John?
Yes, and that sense of America and everything we stand for, to continue to work for that together, to continue to listen to each other and work for that, always stayed with me. My family did teach me that when you serve our country, that sense of service comes through for every single one of us. And that thread continues from Memorial Day to the 4th of July, and that we all think about how we have to serve. That's really where that conversation went for me with you.
I appreciated that very much. And I should share with our listeners that, and we talk about it every February, that every major battle from the Revolutionary War to the present, African Americans have fought for the nation. They have been present. They have been a kind of witness to fighting for something that they themselves, in terms of ideals, could not achieve or experience in their own lives. They could only hope for a day when their children's children might one day be able to take advantage of the opportunities that were being afforded to so many Americans at the very inception of the nation itself. And it's a complicated day as a result, John. And as we struggle to learn more about each other and understand each other from these various perspectives, it requires, from my perspective, John, an open-mindedness that those who are into the habit of the holiday have historically only intellectually leaped backwards to a date that they knew nothing about, July 4th, 1776, that many of them that did not experience that date, and then really struggle with the modern definition of what the freedom system actually means. John?
It's so true, Jesse, because, when we'd have those barbecues and we'd have fireworks, there'd be members of my family that couldn't be outside. They had to go inside. They couldn't be around that because of what those noises meant to them. And so I always remembered that on these days that we celebrate, and we'll be celebrating the 250th anniversary, that it's always more these symbols of celebration mean something sometimes different to our neighbors and to our brothers and our sisters here in our country. And by being open-minded and listening, we can understand, and that gives us a sense of reflection, and that is even a path to a more powerful celebration.
John, we only have a couple of minutes before we come forward. Let me ask you your initial thoughts about the midterms, about where this is going. Where is the system headed at this hour?
I mean, it's urgent. We're in crisis. We really have to pay attention to what's happening to our country. We really have to get to the ballot box. We really have to get to candidate debates. We really have to get into more productive and civil conversation with each other. I appreciate what this show does and what this station does in bringing that sense of conversation together. I think you're great at it. And I think that by doing that and being open-minded, we can realize those differences are okay because that's what makes us great. And again, going back to my family of veterans, I will never forget walking with my World War II veteran grandfather who saw someone burning an American flag, and I was offended. And I was offended for him, and I turned to him, I said, I'm sorry. And he said, look, I landed on the beaches so that they could do it. Yes, it bothers me, but free speech is complicated. It always stuck with me because I had trouble with that as well, but I realized what he was saying to me.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., my very good and close and dear friend. In fact, someone who helped manage my career and managed my comeback to public life. I'm so grateful for John's efforts. John is one of the brightest stars in progressive politics in the United States. He's in the reputation management business, but he's also done some extraordinary work in bringing the idea of healthcare for all Americans that's affordable, that's high quality. We're so grateful for your service as we move towards the 250th anniversary of our nation, John.
Thank you, and God bless you, Jesse. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining me, John. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk, KBLA Talk 1580. On tomorrow, Fat Meat Fridays, our very special and regular contributor and creator, Gina Towns, will be with us, and some very special guests. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica